Hi, I'm Tao, Community Engineer here at Garden, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Garden's new Bonsai release. If you're already using Garden, then you may know it as a tool to streamline your development, whether it's infrastructure as code like Terraform or Pulumi, or building and shipping your containers to your own Kubernetes cluster, either remote or local. Garden unifies all stages of the software development lifecycle. And in this new Bonsai release, we're introducing actions, which take over from the old modules workflow. In this video, we'll show you how to migrate from that old module style workflow to a new actions-driven workflow.
The new Garden has some great new features we think you'll love, including the brand new Dev Console, which is totally interactive. So we can do things like deploy and introduced in Bonsai is the new Kubernetes exec action. So we can do things like test our app inside a Kubernetes cluster in the existing pod. So we'll just run test, and there you go. And now one of Garden's best features gets even better with Bonsai, because when you're running Garden in CI/CD, and so many of our users do, because we cache everything. So when many of your users are all committing code and running those same tests over and over again, we're saving you tons and tons of time. Well, in Bonsai, now those pipelines are fully composable. And what I mean by that is anything can depend on anything. So you can run those exec actions to run a script before a costly and slow Docker build, or just about anything else you can imagine. Okay, that's enough new feature talk. Let's get on to how do you migrate your old 0.12 modules to the new Bonsai actions.
So this is an old modules definition, and this is a new action. Notice anything different? In the old modules definition, all of your builds, services, and tests were defined in one block, and that gets messy really quickly.
In the new actions workflow, we break out tests into its own test action, service into its own deploy action, any Docker file you need to build into its own build action, and tasks into their very own run action. That makes it a lot more flexible, so any stage of the SDLC can depend on any other, which reduces repetition and improves clarity. So, how do we move to Bonsai? The core of our migrations is breaking out our old module definitions into our new build, deploy, test, and run actions. Let's dive in. This is how you may have defined your modules previously. Let's start with build. This is the old build definition. Build doesn't actually change that much because we're just giving it a multi-stage Docker file and telling it what stage to build from. Let's break this section out into its own build action, like so. We give it the name, Flask Builder. This is important because it serves as the ID we use to define dependencies between build, deploy, test, and run actions. Let's take a look at the old service definition, which in Bonsai becomes its own deploy action. Here's the old service. It's embedded inside the container module, which means if we want to create multiple interdependent relationships between modules that reuse this service, we have to repeat ourselves. Boring. New service. As we go down the example, you'll notice 3 dashes. This is how we separate the new action types within the same file. Notice also that Flask Builder shows up in this action. That defines the relationship. Here's the old test. Old test has the same problem as old service. We're inlining all our relationships inside one giant container module. Not so flexible. Here's the new test. Notice how we define our dependency by its actionable relationship in Bonsai? We state our build explicitly, and Garden knows building is a prerequisite to running the test. That's the stat graph in action. These new run and test action types introduce rebuild-free tests and runs, which is a huge time saver. Finally, here's the old task that required a messy web of interdependencies to deliver. Ugh. This gets pretty hairy. Previously, I had to define my task to create my database. That task belonged to its parent, our old familiar container module. In order for the task to run, we had to declare an additional dependency inside the module on the task. Kind of confusing, right? Even I got confused there. In Bonsai, it's a lot clearer. We define just one relationship, the same as we've done for all the other actions. Run depends on Flask Builder. That's it. Garden knows to build the app before running the create database run action. No more web of interdependencies, no more confusion. Ready to move to Bonsai and take advantage of this amazingly powerful, simple, and flexible new workflow? First, make sure you're running the latest Bonsai release by typing into your terminal garden self-update. If we're still in beta when you're watching, just type this command.
Now open all of your old Garden module files, make all the changes that I've just demonstrated to you before, to all of your services, tasks, tests, and build definitions, and you're done. I'm really excited about this release. I've been testing it myself, and I think you are going to be too. If you have any troubles at all, any issues, or you just want to hang with our developers, come by our community Discord, which I'll put in the text below, and come say hello. I'm Tao, community engineer here at Garden, and thank you for joining me.